You're right, all. So, a bit of a controversial topic, but I'm going to cover it. And you see the photo in front of you, Agatha Christie's new, updated, out with the old, in with the new, front and centre, perfect black man. Obviously, this is what we're going with nowadays. So, there's a race and a demographic that's being discriminated against all the time by the BBC and the newspapers as well. So, first of all, you've got Agatha Christie. We've gone for a black man now. I thought just by chance you've got this one of Clint Eastwood, you know, the old school sort of white man dying off. And if you don't believe me, I'll go on to the next one. Doctor Who, out with the old, in with the new. So once again, the perfect black man. Obviously, he's had to move here from Africa because his own country is that much of a shithole. He's had to move to Europe, which isn't. So there you go again. And then finally, I'll move on to Ghosts, which I've never watched. I don't watch any of these programs, they're all bollocks, but it annoys me that people actually watch these programs, particularly if you're white British. If you watch these programs and you're white British, you basically agree with being breeded out of existence because the people who make these programs are pushing it. So there's an old saying with TV, does life imitate art or does art imitate life? In other words, are you going to start imitating what you see in the news and media? And I know from personal experience that human nature we do. So I was obsessed with Oasis when earlier in my early 20s, so I pretended to be like the Gallaghers, like getting pissed. It just didn't suit me at all. And but that's who you look up to. And if you look at The Sopranos, when I was watching The Sopranos, I was quite keen on wearing sort of tracksuits and stuff. So I was imitating art. I was imitating what artists were doing. So this is quite worrying for young girls watching this all the time and thinking this is normal. Well, I'm not saying it isn't normal, in my opinion, to be honest. It's bizarre to have children that look nothing like you, and I'll get to the reason why it's being done in a second.
I'd rather go and use my own. I have a beautiful daughter, beautiful wife, they look like me, we're all happy, and I don't have no trouble. I have no trouble. I ain't that much in love with no woman to go through all that hell. Ain't no one woman that good. You understand?
I understand. Yeah, I do understand. I understand. I think it's sad that
it ain't sad because I want my child to look like me. Every intelligent person wants his child to look like him. I'm sad because I want to blot out my race and lose my beautiful identity. Chinese love Chinese. They love the little slanted-eyed, pretty brown-skinned babies. Pakistanis love their culture. Jewish people love their culture. A lot of Catholics, they want to marry number of Catholics. They want the religion to stay the same. Who want to spot up yourself and kill your race? You a hate of your people if you don't want to stay who you are. You shame what God made you. God didn't make no mistake when He made us all like we were.
I think that's a philosophy of despair.
Despair.
Really
it ain't no despair.
Number
one,
Marxist Parkinson.
I want to tell you. Listen, no woman on this whole. We are not seeking to lose our identity in blood mixing and our beautiful black African history. We don't hate you. We don't hate those of you who are white. We just want to stay black. We love my color. I just love myself.
The task is to bring this minority together in such a way that it makes it impossible for the legacy of whiteness to continue to reproduce itself.
And another example is this smug little, I want to use racist terms, but I won't because, the people who live in an actual country, whether she's from Pakistan or India or whatever, are probably decent people, so I'm not racist against them. But people like this, you just need to jog on back to their own countries, don't they? Listen to her.
Population has increased from 119 in 2001 to 429 today. Similarly, he points out that in London, the white British population has decreased by 600,000, while the minority population has increased by 1.2 million. So, yes lads, we're winning.
An unrelenting stream of immigration. Non-stop. Non-stop. Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America, from then and on, will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
And of course it leads me on to the old infamous Kalergi plan. I think it was a real thing that got wrote. I think there was even a book, Ideal Practice I think it was called. But basically, the man of the future will be of mixed race. Today's races and classes will gradually disappear, owing to the vanishing of space, time and prejudice. The Eurasian Negroid race of the future, similar in appearance to the ancient Egyptians, will replace a diversity of peoples with a diversity of individuals. So basically, in layman's terms, they want to get rid of ethnic groups of people and atomise everybody into a rootless mixed race population. That last sentence in particular gives it away. Replace a diversity of peoples with a diversity of individuals. So for example, you could have someone who's half Jamaican, half English, someone who's half Chinese, half English, half Thai, half English, half Nigerian, half English. I've even known someone who's half Ghanaian, half Estonian, but is growing up in Britain. So how has he got any roots at all to this country? And that's the end goal, is to get rid of roots. And again, it goes further on to the fact that they want to create a global man for their big global dystopian, but they'll present it as a utopian project where they can have a global government, a global bank, global health organisation, global everything basically, and we'll just be dissolved into basically nothing. And humans by nature are tribes, and if you don't believe me, look at football. People naturally are drawn to support their local football team. Bread and circuses, isn't it? But that's a longing for the old tribalism that we had in the past. You know, like a load of men from Derby will go and fight lads from those of Nottingham, or lads from Chelsea will fight people from Millwall, lads from Leeds will fight people from Manchester, because that was human nature. Up in Scotland was the clans, you know, all across the world, that was human nature. But if we can get rid of that and just turn us into a global mixed race population with no roots or identity anymore, I mean, people might even say, oh, well, what's the problem with that? Well, it goes against nature, doesn't it? As like I said. And the final thing I'll cover is it also creates the perfect consumer. I was looking for a speech by Nick Griffin from the BNP when we used to be involved. But he said it well. It basically is designing the perfect consumer. No roots, no identity, just concerned about consuming. No concerns about national identity or history anymore. And obviously can start rewriting history. It's Orwellian stuff, isn't it? I mean, even in 1984, you had a black hand shaking a white hand on the front cover. And what I mentioned about nature, obviously, if you don't abide by nature's laws, then you know ultimately you're going to fail. And I find another point for the soft liberals that don't understand this stuff and are too warm and cuddly. Well, nature's absolutely ruthless. So if you're weak and passive, then a much stronger group of people are going to come in and take that place. You only have to look at predator and prey. At the minute, a lot of people in England are behaving like prey, and obviously as a result, you've got predators coming in. It's nature, and there's no sympathy in nature. And to finish it all off on, I'll always try to remind people who is largely behind all of this.
The monolithic societies that they once were in the last century. Jews are going to be at the center of that. It's a huge transformation for Europe to make. They are now going to be at the center of that. It's once were in the last century. Jews are going to be at the center of that. It's a huge transformation for Europe.
Satan's children.